It was a tough loss on Tuesday as the Owls were flustered in Fort Worth.
Temple's all-time leading scorer, Mia Davis, made just 4 of her 14 shot attempts as the Owls season comes to a disappointing end.
Plus, an inside look to the Owls Conference Tournament play kicking off tomorrow and a tip-off down in the Lone Star State.
And here at Howard Field, the return of one lacrosse player after a season-ending injury in 2021. OwlSports Update is live and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of OwlSports Update. Alongside IBS National Award winner Emilie Cochrane, I'm simply Max Gretzula.
It was a nice spring break, but we're unfortunately back to the 40-degree weather in Philadelphia. Thankfully, Temple basketball is dominating the headlines on North Broad. Let's get into it. It was a celebration for all on Sunday in a game against USF. Hooter celebrated his birthday with all his mascot friends. Senior Spirit Squad and band members were recognized for their hard work, and 5 senior players had their last game on North Broad. It was a slow start in the first half, but Damian Dunn stepped up for the Owls, scoring 14 points while also grabbing 4 rebounds in the first half. Temple led by double digits for the last 17 minutes of the game, and with little time left, the team had a 13-0 run to take the lead 61-35. This was followed by senior Colin Daly's 2 threes of the day, which got the entire bench standing on their feet. Daly has only played a total of 11 minutes during his time at Temple, so this day was undeniably special for him. Temple wins 75-47. The AAC postseason tournament is next.
Just our overall toughness, our grit defensively. And I think our versatility and our depth is another thing that, I think is a weapon for us with guys who different sizes and different heights, but, they bring different type of things to the game.
Our strength has to be attacking the paint and attacking the paint, trying to get, generate quality shots, layups, if it's layups, if it's kickouts for threes, if it's getting to the free throw line. Getting out in transition. I think those are all of the things that we have to be able to do.
On Friday, the Owls take on 5th seed Tulane to tip off their tournament journey. OwlSports Update's Eric Jessberger is at the studio set to tell us what players to keep an eye on and how the Owls need to perform against the Green Wave, and maybe beyond. Hey, Eric.
Thanks, Emilie. Yes, as we head towards mid-March, the AAC Conference Tournament is tipping off Friday for the Owls with their highest conference finish since the 2018-19 season. Here's a look into the conference tournament and how the Owls are shaping up for their run at what they hope stretches into the weekend. College basketball in March. It's that time of year for teams to experience the thrill of a win or a trip back home. In the American Athletic Conference, crowning another conference champion begins with Thursday's slate of 10 games in 4 days, with the winner getting an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament.
The Houston Cougars are finally champions.
Houston, SMU, Memphis, and Tulane have earned first-round byes, along with Temple, who secured the 4 seed after the Owls blew out USF Sunday afternoon.
In this conference, it's a different sort of game every time you step on the floor. Zone, man-to-man, switching, trapping.
Temple heads to the conference tournament with the most amount of freshmen among a roster in the AAC this season. A true test for these young Owls as they get set to take on some of the best the conference has to offer.
So when you have guys like Damian Dunn playing well, when you have someone like Hyseer Miller who's sharing the ball well, when you have Zach Hicks who's shooting well, when you have Nick Jourdain who's playing the inside of the floor well, when everybody's sharing the ball and the ball is continually moving and their offense is flowing, that's the best Temple basketball.
Temple tips off against Tulane in its opening round game down in Fort Worth, Texas. The Owls split their regular season series record with the Green Wave after eking out a 5-point win over Tulane 11 days ago.
They keep 5 guys out on the floor that can score the ball. Everybody's surprised by those guys, but we're not.
There are 2 teams I'm keeping an eye on in the tournament play this weekend. My first is for the standout team, and that's number 1 seeded Houston. It's difficult to write off a team with only 3 conference losses in 17 games. Led by senior Kyler Edwards and Fabian White Jr., averaging 13 points, experience is the strongest attribute of this Cougars team seeking their 2nd straight conference title. Earning my dark horse team candidate, the Wichita State Shockers are not to be counted out come Thursday and beyond. Their conference record may not look pretty, but understand that this is a team that has lost a lot of close games and still has a championship pedigree from just 1 season ago, where they were 10-3 in games decided by 10 points or fewer. If they can capture that success in crunch time again, don't be surprised to see the Shockers, who took Houston to double overtime just 2 weeks ago, make a run from the 7th seed. Reporting from the Plasma set, I'm Eric Jessberger. Those are a look into the AAC tournament play coming up this weekend. Emilie and Max, back to the desk.
Let's keep it moving with some more tournament talk.
We have our picks. The fans have their rally towels and their boomsticks. It's tourney time. Let's go.
For this first matchup, I'm picking ECU in a mini upset. Cincy has lost its last 5 games and is struggling offensively right now.
For the second matchup in round 1, I'm picking the Shockers. They beat Tulsa twice this year, and for me, it'll be too much Tyson Etienne offensively.
This final first round game is a clear pick for me. UCF will likely dominate on both sides of the ball, plus USF is 1-8 in its last 9 games. I think the Bulls season will likely end here.
Moving on to round 2, I'm picking Houston in this one. They've been rock solid all season long. Without Marcus Sasser and Tremont Mark, I believe they'll roll here.
Next up, I'm going T for Temple U all the way. It'll be a close game, but having newly named All-AAC second-team player Damian Dunn will likely drop in on the green wave. Plus, I'm just a homer.
I'm definitely a homer at heart as well, but it looks like I'm also a Shockers fan too. I'm picking them again, and honestly, it's just a gut feeling. Wichita State beat SMU back in early February 72-57.
Gut feelings are kind of risky, so I'm playing it safe for this next one. Memphis has my vote against UCF. The Tigers are hot right now, winning their last 4 games. The most recent one against Houston, who sits all the way at the top.
Yeah, I'm a homer, but not this homie. Houston will likely beat down the Owls again in this matchup. The last time these 2 teams played, Temple lost by nearly 40 points.
For this last matchup before the final round, I have to play it safe and pick Memphis. As much as you love the Shockers, I just don't see them keeping pace with the Tigers once they get going offensively.
In the final round, I have the Cougars matching up against the Tigers. Although Memphis has beaten Houston in both meetings this year, I think Houston will turn up when it matters most and win this one going away. Go Cougs, make me look good. Speaking of looking good, look at those faces. You gotta love it. Anchors Sage Hurley and Josh Saffin will be flying to Texas, covering the men's AAC tourney for OwlSports Update. Follow along on all of our social media platforms at OwlSports Update and look for their daily reports from the Dickies Arena starting Friday afternoon. Temple entered Tuesday's matchup versus SMU as the number 4 seed in the AAC tournament. SMU held a slight advantage throughout the first quarter as Jasmine Smith gets into the lane and beats the buzzer with this floater. The Owls continue to rely on their star Mia Davis offensively as she struggled from the field but finishes this bucket off the window for the and one opportunity. Later on in the fourth quarter, it's Jasmine Smith doing damage yet again as she buries this triple from beyond the arc. Brandon Perea is not to be denied, however, as she sinks this 3-ball to bring the Owls back to within single digits. Temple was not able to capitalize, unfortunately, on the SMU turnovers, ultimately falling to the Mustangs by a final score of 63-55.
Pretty much all season, if Mia's not scoring, that we struggle. And, you know, she didn't have a great night offensively because of how they were defending her.
It's sad that it's a lot of our last game, and I wish it would have ended a different way.
Like if we were really connected and focused, we could have had a better year. I mean, you've been around and you watched how many close games that we came up short.
Mia Davis ends her time at Temple University with a legendary status. She is second all-time in the conference 4 points, as well as being named a 3-time Cheryl Miller Award finalist. Her most impressive accolade, however, is quite possibly her streak of 4 straight first-team All-American Athletic Conference awards.
We're heading into our first break of the day, but when we come back, I'll give you a breakdown of the spring football schedule.
And one member of the field hockey team talks about her road to recovery following major knee surgery.
Plus, I'm OwlSports Update's Lindsay Moppert, and I'm sitting down with head coach Stan Drayton prior to the start of spring football. We're back in 90 seconds.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. Football season is quickly approaching with spring practices set to begin on Friday. But why wait? On Wednesday, All Access Pass host Lindsay Moppert woke up bright and early to sit down with head coach Stan Drayton in his first one-on-one TV interview. Lindsay joins us from the studio set. Hey, Linz.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, I sat down with new head coach Stan Drayton for his first one-on-one interview on Wednesday morning. We talked about the start of spring football, his move to North Broad Street, and how he plans to advance and develop the program. And when I asked him about being this first head coaching job in his 28 years of experience, his response was quite simple.
Well, I think the opportunity presented itself. There's a time and a place for everything, right? And I believe that this was the time and the place for me to be the head football coach here at Temple. I've tried for other positions in the past, and it just wasn't that time. It wasn't the time or the place. So I think the good man upstairs had a timing for me here, right here at Temple, and this is a job that I've always wanted.
Be sure to look out for a new episode of All Access Pass on our social media at OwlSports Update on Tuesday afternoon. I will be taking a deeper dive into my discussion with Coach Drayton and his plans for the future of Temple football. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Lindsay Moppert. Emily and Max, back to you.
Here is a look at the spring schedule. Coach Drayton is putting these guys to work. The Owls will have morning practices 3 days a week leading up to the cherry and white spring game on Saturday, April 9th. The spring game and each of the 14 spring practice sessions will be held at Edberg Olson Hall starting on March 11th, bright and early at 8:35 a.m.
The 18th ranked Temple lacrosse team came out in its all-white unis on Wednesday night looking to knock off the 13th ranked Rutgers. Temple established an early 3-1 lead thanks to goals from Julie Schickling and Quinn Nicolai. After that, however, it was a scarlet night onslaught as they peppered the net offensively, scoring 4 unanswered goals to take a lead they did not give back. Rutgers junior Taryn Naslowski scored a hat trick in less than 5 minutes during the second quarter and finishes with 5 goals on the night. Rutgers wins this matchup 15-9 to remain undefeated.
Despite Wednesday's final, the Lax team has been strong this season. Both losses have come to nationally ranked teams. For one player, well, she's just glad to be back in action. Who doesn't love a comeback story? OwlSports Update's Ricky Turner is live at the Temple Sports Complex. Hey, Ricky.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, it is quite the comeback story. As 16 months ago, Riley Mcgowan started her road to recovery. From doctor's visits to workouts and building up her strength, it has been quite the journey for her.
It's every athlete's worst nightmare, and attacker number 24, Riley Mcgowan, has lived it, a season-ending injury. Mcgowan tore her ACL before last season, and she spent the last 16 months just trying to get back to the game she's played most of her life.
I would have certain benchmarks I had to hit, and it was kind of just the same as I would have expected and kind of the same as like everyone else's recovery for an ACL.
Recovery for an ACL injury is typically around 8 to 12 months and include many low points. To keep a positive mindset, Riley decided to create a social media account dedicated to her recovery.
Kind of like I would follow different ACL recovery pages, and it was cool to like be able to share that with everyone.
Now with her back on the field, Riley's teammates and her head coach have certainly noticed her impact. 2 goals against Army,
near the net, the shot,
and 4 in Temple's win over Kennesaw State last week.
Her height and her IQ is something that not everyone can possess on the teams.
Riley has not just used this injury to become a better player. She has applied this to other aspects of life as well.
That process has made her understanding the role that teammates play. She understands things can be challenging and how to kind of reset from those things.
I've never had something that would mess with my head like this has, so it taught me that I am able to get over it.
Riley has certainly impressed. Her next goal will be her 7th, topping the 6th goal she scored as a freshman. Her next opportunity will come Saturday at 1 against the Delaware Hens. Reporting live from the Temple Sports Complex, I'm Ricky Turner.
Thanks, Ricky. It's time to take a quick timeout. When we come back, yet another Temple head coach reaches a historic milestone.
Plus, we'll have a fan favorite segment that has us answering all your questions. OwlSports Update will be back on the other side.
Welcome back. It's time for a fan favorite segment, the M Mailbag. You send us questions on Twitter. We answer them here in TV Studio 3. The first question is from Dean Schofield, and he asked if Temple's lacrosse team has the best shot of bringing the school an AAC championship.
So Max, right now, I think absolutely. The lacrosse team is currently ranked 18th out of 112 teams around the country. And if you look at the AAC teams alone, the Owls are sitting at the very top in front of teams like ECU and Cincinnati. Look out for Florida, though. The Gators are definitely a problem. But Ronnie Rosen's squad is undeniably special, and once this championship rolls in, I think they'll have a shot in Greenville. The second question comes from Tulane student Eric G., who asks, how will Temple try and contain X Factor's Jalen Cook and Jalen Forbes?
Well, for me, it's about forcing the Jalen combo off of the three-point line and away from the free throw line. Forbes and Cook are not shy from beyond the arc, combining for 20 three-point attempts in just 2 games versus Temple this year. The duo was also a combined 24 of 30 from the foul line in those games as well. Regardless, the point total was relatively high in both matchups, and that is something I don't expect to change with the stakes even higher in the AAC tournament. Thanks for these questions. Look for us on social again soon if you have a question for us in our MNL mailbag. OwlSports at OwlSports Update. The Temple Gymnastics team was in action on Sunday, finishing second in the tri-meet and setting a school record on the bars with a 49.35. For the Temple fencing team, it opened up the postseason on Saturday and won its 26th straight NIWFA title. As for Temple tennis, the men and women swept both matches versus Fairleigh Dickinson by a final score of 5-2 and 4-love respectively. That victory on the men's side was Coach Steve Morrow's 200th all-time.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Very nice.
As the field hockey team's spring season approaches, balancing their work on and off the field can be a tall task. OwlSports Update's Ryan Vinziali has more and a group of teammates that certainly takes his GPA to a new level.
Number 22, Julia Bunch, is a pretty good field hockey player, but the freshman is near perfect in the classroom with a 4.0 GPA. From the moment she wakes up in the morning until the moment she goes to sleep, it's really mostly about her classwork and field hockey. But she's not alone. The Owls have been recognized as one of the top Division I academic teams in the nation with a 3.51 team GPA. And Julia is one of 4 other Owls who have also been named as Scholars of Distinction, along with number 25, junior Megan Phillips, number 9, graduate Danny Bates, and number 28, sophomore Maddie Mulchaney. They all have been recognized for the 3.9 plus GPA.
It has to do with time management, and I think I really have good time management skills, so I was really proud of myself.
Student athlete academic advisors at the Resnick design schedules so that the pressure of being a full-time student is later in season. The The academic advisors also provide tremendous support and resources to make sure that student athletes stay ahead in their classes.
We are checking in, and they'll come and they'll sit in my office and we'll review their academic progress in each of their classes.
Starting with practice at 8 a.m. and classes around 3 p.m., it is imperative that student athletes have good management skills and that they are in constant communication with the Resnick Center and their professors.
I meet with her every week to go over my grades and stuff, and like the whole team, including me, can go to her literally for anything and she will help.
Student athletes represent a decent amount of the Temple student base. These opportunities not only allow them to stay successful, but they also allow them to take advantages moving into their career. Reporting from the TSC, I'm Ryan Menziali.
We're back with a big-time debut. Stick around.
Welcome back. With St. Patty's Day just around the corner, we want to take some time to highlight the Temple Irish dance team right here on campus. OwlSports Update and dance team member Aaron Carty has a story.
The Help Wanted sign is always up. No experience necessary. Temple's Irish dance team is made up of 20-plus students whose skill levels vary. It doesn't matter if they've competed for most of their lives or were taught for the first time once on campus.
I've been a dancer for 17 years, but did everything besides Irish dance. It was one of the main reasons I chose to come here.
I've been dancing since I was 5.
The Irish dance team is preparing for a long overdue busy season. The last 2 years, they've had to hang up their hard shoes and soft shoes thanks to COVID.
Not having had it the last 2 years for really understandable reasons has been rough, so I'm definitely excited to be back.
March Madness may refer to the Division I collegiate basketball tournament. But for Temple's Irish dance team, this refers to the number of shows and parades, which includes about half a dozen, not to mention all the practices that occur throughout the month.
Senior Grace Spurrier and junior Thomas Lane are in charge of making sure the team is ready.
Just lucky that Grace and I work really well in choreographing.
We all work together to make sure we can be great students and great dancers, great athletes.
The Temple Irish dance team will be performing at the Philadelphia St. Patrick's Day Parade this Sunday. It will be televised live at noon on Fox 29. Reporting for OwlSports Update, I'm Aaron Carty.
Now back to the varsity sports. This weekend's calendar is packed with 7 different teams competing here on North Broad and traveling as far as Fort Worth, Texas.
Although I will have my eyes on hoops this weekend, I'll have to check out the lacrosse game versus Delaware as well. The Owls lost on Wednesday in a disappointing effort versus Rutgers.
I like your pick, Max, but I'm still so excited for this first conference matchup against Tulane. I know we've talked about this a lot today, but these teams have been so neck and neck this season. Earlier I said Temple U all the way, and I stand by that, but I truly think it's going to be a close, entertaining matchup against these 4th and 5th seeded teams. Now that's all the time we have for today. I'm Emilie Cochrane. What's up, Langhorne?
I'm Aac Gretzula. What's up, Audubon? Have a great day, everybody.